If I need you, you'll know. All right. I got him. I got him. I got him. Okay, you ready? Yeah, let me go live. What's going on IG? What's going on TikTok? We're starting in 1 minute. We're just waiting for Adam's gonna close up here on Clubhouse, and then I'm going live on Clubhouse. And today we are talking. What are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? I am ready, sir. I appreciate you filling in there for me. How are you? I'm doing excellent. Thank you for jumping on. Hope everybody's had a great weekend, great day. How was your weekend, Adam? Dude, I went to Universal Studios in Orlando. I need to go there. Some of the best roller coasters that I've ever ridden in my entire life. If you guys have not gone to Universal Studios, Dre, if you've not been recently, you have to. Was it the Velociraptor? Yeah. The Velocicoaster. Holy crap, dude! You come out of your seat, you do these twisties and upside down, and to come out of your seat, it's designed like to have you fall out of your seat. It's insane. I need to go there. I haven't been there in a while. I'm waiting for my son to get a little bit older. He's only almost 2 years old. He wouldn't last a day at Universal yet, but he's close. Oh, dude, you just go for yourself. Go for yourself, and then when your son gets older, go with your son. You know, an interesting thing about Universal, about Orlando, Adam, and everybody else that I know a lot of people don't notice that Universal Studios and Disney World takes more money per person per day than Las Vegas. Do y'all know that? Did you know that, Adam? No, dude, I did not know that. They take more money per person from people than Las Vegas does? Yes, they do. On a daily basis, yes. They beat Vegas. So one good thing about going to Universal and Disney is that you actually get a business lesson if you're paying attention to how they're making money, taking money from people. Starting with those $7 hot dogs, right? Exactly, yes. And the $200 rubber balls and all of that stuff. Yeah, so yeah, they're doing their thing. So I'm glad you brought that up, Adam. Well, I appreciate everybody for being here. Let me quickly reset the room. Marilyn, is Marilyn in here? Yes, I'm remembering to reset the room today. So this is the Breakfast with Champions. We do live programming here every day starting at 4 a.m. If you want to stay up to date with us, make sure you join the BWC Facebook group. If someone could put the link to that group in the chat, please, so that everybody has a link to that Facebook group. And I want everyone to understand why we are here. All right, what we do here at BWC, our modus operandi, we're here for motivation, education, and inspiration, where everyone has a seat at the table. Even my son has a seat at the table today. If you are on Instagram, I'm at Dre Baldwin Live as well, also on TikTok. Somebody is on a hot mic who's on the stage right now. And what we're going to talk about here today, we're going to talk about how to get what you really want. How to get what you really want, with really in all capital letters, emphasis. And I'm going to talk about this from a different angle than maybe what you expect. And before we even get into that, let me introduce myself or tell you who I am, so all of you know who I am. My name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day, a former 9-year pro athlete, author of 35 books on 4 TEDxTalks. Create this whole brand called Work on Your Game. What we do here is we extract the tools to help athletes reach the top of the sports world. We translate those tools over to the business world and into everyday life to help you all perform at your highest level, do so consistently. And of course, if you're in business, you want to make more money or help your company make money, whatever your situation may be. So let's get into talking about this, because we all want things. So is there anybody on here, anybody listening who doesn't want anything? Is anybody listening right now who you don't want for anything in your life? Like there's nothing that you want. There are no goals you want to reach, nothing you want to achieve. You're just good with everything staying exactly the same. I don't think that applies to anybody. So we all want stuff. It's part of the human condition to want stuff. Most of us, when thinking about the things that we want, we tend to think on a tactical level as to what is it going to take to get it? All right, what do I have to go do? How far away am I from it? What resources do I need to acquire or access? How much time is it going to take? Or we think about what we don't have. Okay, I know I need this, but I don't have the money. I can't afford that. Or I know I need to do this, but I live over here and everything's happening over there. Or I know I need to do this, but I don't have the information. I don't know the right people, et cetera, et cetera. That's usually the level that we think at when we're thinking about the things that we want. Either how do I get it? Do I not have it? Or how do I go get the thing that's going to help me get the thing? And these are all good things to think. But what I'm going to do here today is go to a higher level of this conversation. And I want to help you get out of your head so much and help you tap into both the mentalities and the energies to, again, go over the top of your resource needs, your knowledge needs, or your lack thereof challenges to a different level that, again, and this is a concept that I talk about a lot in my world, is going over the top of a problem. Going over the top of the problem is, instead of focusing on the tactical issues that maybe you can't do anything about right now, i.e., I don't have the money, I don't have the knowledge, I don't know how, I don't have the skills, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm in the wrong place, I don't know anybody, etc. Those are the things that usually bog us down when we're thinking about goals that we have not yet reached. Instead, we can go over the top of the problem by doing some of these other things I'm going to talk about here today. And I got 3 specific points I'm going to cover here over the next 20 or so minutes. All right, everybody ready for that? Good. Point number 1. We're talking here today about how to get what you really want. Here's the first question. What do you want? What do you want? And when I say what do you want, I mean clearly and specifically. Any of you who works as a coach, a consultant, and let's say those 2 areas, personal trainer, any of you work in any of those areas where you work with people directly, providing a service to help them reach a goal, all of you know this. Any of you works in this space, Adam, I'm sure you know, Marilyn, you may know, Rachel, daughter Maria, Tony, Debbie, Health, Trisha. Many of you probably know this, that in your initial conversations with people who are your clients, people that you're working with, a lot of times, the most important thing that these people are missing is not your extreme knowledge or intelligence, even though you have a lot of it, is the fact that they're simply unclear on what they want. They don't even know what they want. They may say, hey, I want to make more money. I want to lose weight. I want to get in better shape. I need to work on my mindset. I need to fix this problem, that problem, but there's no clarity. One of the most important things that we help people do is achieve clarity. Clarity of specifically, what do you want? The 2 key terms, clear and specific. If you remember anything from what I say today, remember these 2 points, at least from this point. Many people have things that we want. We all got things that we want. But since we're not clear and we're not specific about what we want, it makes it very difficult for us to get it. So if I asked you, what do you want your family life to look like 5 years from now? What's your answer? Can you tell me specifically what you're doing, where you're living, who's involved, where are you at, what's your everyday looking like? What time are you waking up? What time are you having lunch? What time are you going to sleep? Who's there? Who's not there? Where do you go? How do you do it? What times are you doing it? What are you not doing? What's it happening now that's no longer happening? What isn't happening now that is going to be happening? How specific can you get in painting the picture of what you want your future to look like? Swap out your family. Let's talk about your business. Swap out your business. Let's talk about your finances. Swap out your finances. Let's talk about your health and your fitness. Can you get really, really specific as to what you want? And when you have, not only should you know the answer to this, you should have it written down. You should be reminding yourself of it, subconscious mind, to work for you, even when you're not consciously thinking about where you want to go and what you want. But if your plans are unclear, then, well, guess what? You are sending unclear purchase orders out into the universe, and then you're getting mad because your package didn't arrive. If everybody catches the metaphor that I'm giving you there. Any of you ever ordered a package from Amazon and the package didn't arrive and it said it was delivered and you're like, where the hell is the package? And you're calling Amazon and you're doing back and forth with them. And you're trying to get your money back, get a replacement package. All of us have had that happen, right? I got a package right now and I don't know where it is. I have to do some mystery sleuthing and become Sherlock Holmes to find my package. And what happens with a lot of us in life is that we are sending out unclear orders into the Amazon of the universe. Amazon is sending the package out, but it's going to an address that's different than the one we thought we were asking it to be sent to. And then we get mad at Amazon because the package didn't arrive. Again, catch my extended metaphor here. We are not being clear as to what we want. I'll give you an example. Back in 2014, 15-ish, I had this goal that I wanted to have a billboard with me featured somewhere in Times Square in New York City. Everybody's been to Times Square in New York City, right? You see all the big billboards and the lights and all that stuff. So I said, I want to have myself on a billboard in New York City. It didn't specify why or when, but I just knew I wanted to have one. So around 2016, this is about the time that Snapchat was the most popular place to post. We know we have Instagram stories now. So Snapchat was the most popular place at the time for the stories. This is before Instagram had stories. And I know a lot of people in New York. I'm from Philadelphia. I went to school at Penn State, so I know a lot of New Yorkers. And a lot of New Yorkers know me. Just follow me online. So at the time, I started getting a lot of messages on Snapchat from people in New York who were saying, Dre, you're not saying, but they were sending me pictures. They were sending me pictures of me on a billboard in New York City. This is a true story. So they were sending me pictures of this billboard. Now, here's the thing. The billboard that they were sending me pictures of was, any of you been to New York, you know, when you get on the train or you get off the train, there's those billboards that are on the wall when you're getting off of the train. And there's a little board there. It's like 4 feet by 6 feet, a 4 by 6 little billboard. And there was that. And there was a photo that I had taken, and I was working with this company called Stash. It was like a micro investing company. And it had a picture of me, and it literally was on a billboard. And a bunch of people were sending me this picture, and it was cool. I was like, wow, that actually happened. And I even reached out to Stash, and they sent me the billboard. I still have it to this day. The problem is, here's the problem, is that because I wasn't specific enough, that really wasn't the type of billboard I was thinking about. See, I was thinking when you stand out in the middle of Times Square and you look up and you see all the bright lights and all the pictures, come here. You see all the bright lights and the pictures and all that stuff, and you're on this 100-foot board. That's what I was envisioning when I said a billboard in Times Square, but that's not what happened. Why? Because I wasn't specific enough in my ask and what I was looking for. So all of us have to be a lot more specific in what we're asking for, because if we're not, you may get it, but not exactly what you thought you were getting. So you say, I want more money. Okay, you found $5 on the ground. Is that really what you were looking for? Probably not. So more specificity matters when it comes to reaching our goals and getting what we want. So that's point number one, is what exactly do you want? Point number two, we're talking here today about how to get what you want. And on that first point, let me add one more thing. Get specific and write it down, folks. Take the time today, after you are done listening to us, open up a note on your phone or get a pen and paper or whatever you need to do and write it down. What is your life looking like in whatever area that matters to you? 5 years from now, 5 months from now, 5 days from now. Get specific. The more specific you are, the easier it is for you to go after the goal. Point number two, what will it take to get it, and are you willing to do it? What will it take to get it, and are you willing to do it? Those are two different questions. Now, here's where we can get a little bit more tactical and strategic as to what it will take to get what you want. Now, it helps when you have the details in place. That's why that first point matters so much. And you need to know what you're asking for, right? Know what you want, know what you're asking for, and know how you're going to go about it. So let's just say you had a goal of, I want to be able to do 100 pull-ups without stopping, or I want to run a 5K at a 8-minute mile pace. Yeah, 5K at an 8-minute mile pace. That's it. Or be able to walk up 3 flights of stairs without what the goal is. And you're very specific on it. Now you got to find out, what's it going to take for me to get from where I'm at, meaning I'm a person who can't even walk around the block without getting tired, to now I'm going to run an 8-mile pace for a 5K. All right, how am I going to do that? All right, what is it actually going to take? This is where you can consult the information of people who know things that you don't know. This is where you go talk to a trainer. This is where you go talk to a coach. This is where you go talk to an expert, someone who's already been where you've been, or maybe a friend of yours who's already, they run marathons for fun. Go find out, what is it going to take for me to get into this type of shape? And once you get the answer, here's the inflection point, folks. Do you actually want to do that? Do you want to commit to what it's going to take for that to actually happen? Because the answer might be no, and that's okay. If the answer is no, that's okay. But you need to know, K-N-O-W, that the answer is no, N-O, so you can move on to doing something else. For example, if I was to go, I've never played tennis, right? I played basketball my whole life. I like to run outside. I like to go to a boxing gym. If I wanted to be a tennis player, let's say I went to some person, I say, I want to be I don't know what they have. They have like the older version of playing tennis. So I want to play in some over 40 tennis tournaments and win trophies on the weekends. I want to be a weekend warrior tennis player. What is it going to take for me to do that? I don't have the answer to that question. So let's say I went to some tennis center down here in Miami, and I talked to some tennis pro coach expert, and he told me what it was going to take for me to get that. He says, Dre, well, what's it going to take? What it's going to take is you need to come and train tennis 5 days a week for the next 5 years. And after 5 years, you might be good enough to where you can play your way into getting invited to perform in a tournament. Maybe you're probably not going to win a trophy, but you can play your way into actually getting a chance to play in a tournament after about 5 years of training, 5 days a week, every week for, again, the next 5 years straight. Now, the question is not if he's telling the truth or not. I'm assuming he is telling the truth because he's an expert. Do I want to do that? Am I willing to do that? Am I willing to invest that much time for that long in order to get to that goal? My answer would be no. I'm not willing to make that investment. So therefore, I either need to A, change the goal, meaning maybe I'm just okay with just being good at tennis. Maybe I can just go hit the ball back and forth with somebody at the park. Or B, find something else I want to do. where I am willing to make that type of investment. So you have to figure out, what does it actually take for me to get to the goal? And this is another piece of the clarity, folks, that I talked about in point number 1. When we're unclear on what we want or unclear on how to go about getting it, what it leads to is frustration. And all frustration is the gap between where we see ourselves being and where we actually are. And when that gap is big and we can't figure out why that gap is or how to close it, we get frustrated, because most of us have the ability, we have the skills, we have the knowledge, we have the tools, we have access to the resources, at least we can get them. But if we don't know how to go about using them or how to go about getting them, that's when we get frustrated. All right, why am I not getting this outcome? So you have to figure out if you're willing to do the things that you learn about in order to get that outcome. All right, so if you want 6-pack abs, but right now you have a 1-pack, or the only 6-pack you have is in the refrigerator, all right, are you willing to give up the cake and ice cream in order to get it? All right, because that's part of the equation. All right, that's what you got to give up. If you want to run that 5K, are you willing to give up watching Netflix for an hour and a half every night so you can actually go to bed early, so you can wake up early enough to go outside and run, rather than waking up at 6 o'clock, you're waking up at 4 o'clock so you can go outside and run before you go to work? Are you willing to make that investment? Because if you're not, that's okay. You just got to be honest with yourself. All right, what am I willing to give up in order to get the outcome that I want? Once you find out what it will actually take to get the specific outcome you want, you have to ask yourself if you're willing to do those things. Are you willing, if you're in the consulting business, you want to be a professional speaker, are you willing to get on the phone and make 20, 30, 50 cold calls a day in order to get some traction going and do a couple free speaking gigs and then level yourself up with some paid ones? And if this takes 2 or 3 years before you're making a full-time income from it, are you willing to make that investment? Are you willing to do it? That's a question you have to ask yourself. And if you're not willing to do it, that's okay. Just don't lie to yourself that you're willing to do something that maybe you're not really willing to do. To get what you really want, we have to be clear on the goal, and we got to be clear on the inputs that are required to reach the goal. And if you don't know what the inputs are, you need to make it your business to find out what those inputs are. And the good thing about the world that we live in today, everybody, is that there are plenty of people who are already doing the thing that you want to do, and they're already telling you what the inputs are. They will at least, they can give you they can point you in the right direction. You only have to pay them. Now, if you want to learn how to actually do the stuff, then maybe you have to get into their coaching program, or you're going to hire them, or you need to go to their conference, or you need to join their coaching course, or not their coaching, their course, whatever the situation is. But everybody understands where I'm coming with this, right? What do you want clearly, and what is it going to take to get there clearly? You got to get clear on these things. And a lack of clarity is the number one reason that we get procrastination, that we don't do the things that we're supposed to do, that we get delays in our actions, and we're not getting the outcomes that we want. But we're not done. We got one more point. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to get what you really want. Number 3, the time factor. The time factor. In life, ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 forms of investment. They are time, money, attention, energy, and focus. Those 5 resources must be put into anything that you achieve. Any of you who's achieved at a high level, let's just say higher than most people in any aspect of your life, you can look back and see time, money, attention, energy, and focus have all been invested into that goal. Whether it's personal, whether it's business, whether it's career-wise, whether it's health-wise, financial-wise, time, money, attention, energy, focus. You cannot circumvent these 5 investments. And time is the most valuable one. If we were to break these down by percentages, time is worth 60% and the other 4 are worth 10% apiece. Time is the most valuable one. Why? Because it cannot be replaced. You can make a whole lot of money in a short period of time. You can lose a lot of money. Attention, energy, focus, you can go to sleep, wake up, take a nap, they'll drink a Red Bull and get more of those things. Time, it goes at a steady pace, and once it's gone, it's gone. It is the most valuable resource you have, and time is the most important consideration when it comes to getting what you want, because your time on this planet is limited. You cannot keep telling yourself that you'll get around to things later, because eventually, what happens is forever. Eventually, you don't have any more laters. You don't have any more tomorrows. You don't have any more next years. It's happening or it's not happening. So the goals that you have, that you've been telling yourself about for some time now, eventually they must be acted upon. And the best time for eventually is when? Everybody knows the answer to that, right? Now, the best time for eventually is today, right now. I'll give you an interesting thought experiment. All right, so, and I want y'all to answer this in the comments in the chat. Based on what I just said, all right, based on what I just said, how many people would actually start making changes right now on the spot based on what I just said, on a percentage basis from 0 to 100? How many people do you think, based on what I just said, this, and I'm just presenting some logic to you, to all of you consciously understand, but maybe you don't constantly think about too often, is that eventually you're going to run out of time. So all the stuff that you have on your list, whether it's a mental list or a tangible list, it should be a tangible list of things that you want to get done. What percentage of people do you think are actually going to go and make changes after hearing what I just said? I just brought it to your consciousness. Again, I didn't give you new information. I'm just bringing it to your consciousness. From 0 to 100, put it in chat. What percentage of people do you think actually would go and actually start doing something right now, being that I brought this up? 0 to 100. What do you think? So 100 means everybody's going to go do it. 0 means nobody's going to go do it. What percentage do you think? I'm just asking.
70?
So somebody says 70. You're a very optimistic person. Okay, Shane said 1. Lauren said 1. Cookie said 5. John said less than 10. Samika 1 to 5. Tony said 35. Y'all some optimists over here in BWC. Dr. Monique said 75. Wow. I say about 2%. Aru said 30%. I say about 2%. Jamie over on TikTok said 3%. King Osa 1%. I got a less than 50. I got a not many. It's about 2%. About 2% of people. All right. And over here at Work on Your Game, we're looking for the 2%. Those are people that I like to work with. I like to work with 2%, 2%ers. The type of people who they get some information, they implement it today. They don't think about it. They don't write it down. They don't research it. They don't look into it. They implement. I'm looking for implementers, people who want to go and make things happen, because all of us have a bunch of things that we want to do, that we could do, that we should do, that we would do but we're not doing it. Why? Because we continually put things off. Us human beings, all of us, we have this underlying arrogance about ourselves. And all of us are guilty of this. The underlying arrogance is that we have more time. You don't have more time. And I'm pausing there to let that thought sink in. You don't have more time. How much time do you have? Anybody know? How much time do you have?
Right now.
Exactly. We don't have any. You don't have any time. You don't have time. How much time do you have? You're going to be here in 2000. It's 2024. All right. Will you be here June of 2025? I mean, did somebody give you a contract that guarantees it? Last I checked, I don't know if anybody has that. You don't have more time. So every time we put something off into the future, or we'll get to it later, we are placing a blind bet that we will be around for that later to actually get to it. It's a blind bet because, again, you ain't guaranteed the next opportunity. You're not guaranteed the next day, the next year, the next month. So every time we put something off, again, it's our arrogance that we're assuming we're going to get that time, until eventually you end up wrong. And you ain't got to be wrong once when it comes to that. Everybody get my drift. This is the reason why a lot of people don't reach their goals. It's not because they don't know what to do, not because you're intellectually or physically incapable of reaching a goal. Nonsense. None of you have that problem. It's because most people have no sense of urgency. And you have a bad habit of putting things off for as long as you can, usually until life forces your hand. You don't want life to force your hand. You want to force your own hand. And everybody listen to me. You know what it feels like to force your own hand. You know what it feels like to have a sense of urgency. You wake up 20 minutes later than you're supposed to wake up because the alarm didn't go off or you snoozed it too many times, but you still got to be to work on time. And that day, all of a sudden, you get ready in 80% of the time you normally need to get ready. You're like, damn, maybe I don't need that much time to get ready in the morning. Everyone knows what it feels like to have a sense of urgency forced upon you. Any of you ever had a flight to catch and all of a sudden you were able to wake up early, but you can't wake up early to go to the gym? Oh, all magic formula. All right, we all know what it feels like to have a sense of urgency forced upon us. The fact is, we just only do it when life makes us do it. The difference is when you can make yourself do it. When you can make yourself do it and put that sense of urgency on yourself by your own volition, that's when things change. But until you do that, you're going to keep living with this arrogance of, oh, I got time. You're right, you do have time until you don't. And at that point, when you don't have time anymore, well, there's nobody going to be able to wag their finger at you because you ain't around to hear it. So this is the reason why many goals never get reached and many dreams don't get realized. Most business never comes to fruition because we have this perpetual habit of delay and procrastination. If you want to get more life out of your life, 2 words you need to implement: fast and now. Let me recap my 3 points here. We are talking here today about how to get what you really want. Number 1, get clear and specific. What do you want? What do you want? And get clear and specific, meaning you can write it down and you could paint a picture in your mind that you can write down on paper that someone could look at it and read it. What exactly do you want in the areas of your life that matter most? Number two, what is it going to take to get there? You may not know the answer to this question, so it's your job to go find out. What is it going to take for me to make 10 times the money that I'm making right now? What is it going to take for me to get a six-pack abs instead of a six-pack of beer? What is it going to take for me to be able to run a 10K at an 8-minute mile pace without stopping? What is it going to take? Go find out and then ask yourself, am I willing to do that? Am I willing to make that trade-off? And number three, the time factor. Time is the most valuable resource you have. When you run out of it, the game's over. You can run out of money, you can run out of energy, you can run out of attention, you can run out of focus, and you can come back and tell the story. You run out of time, there's no story to be told, at least not by you. So with all that said, folks, let me open up the mic. We got 2 minutes here. Anybody got anything to add, ask, or share on Clubhouse and Instagram? Any comments, I'll reply to them as well. Mic's open.
Phenomenal, Dre. And I'm just so happy that you're talking about the importance. I know in my industry in sports medicine, there's no athlete I can help without a target. Like everything we do, all of rehab is about having targets. So thank you for this conversation. It's so critical in every single area of our life. Thanks. Back to you.
That's right. Much appreciated, Shantae. And that clarity is the biggest thing in any instance where you're trying to help a person. Clarity is the key because we got to know where we're going. Now, anybody else? Mic's open here. We got a minute and a half maybe.
Hello, Dre. This is Lydia.
Good morning.
I actually wanted to say that I enjoyed this conversation a lot. And I actually think that a lot of times when we want something, it's kind of energetically placing us at a place of lack. And so I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that I created, a time acronym, which is targeted intent that manifests energy, which is really practical when you allow yourself to think in terms of what's my target and where's my intent going at this moment. At this very moment, where is my energy flowing? Because that's the difference between attention and focus. When your focus is on that which you do want to create, rather than what you're not willing to basically invest, and which is fear, and which is also unclarity, and which is all the muddled part, because nobody is going to sit down in a taxi and say, just take me anywhere. The taxi driver will want to know where you're going.
That's right.
And that is that targeted intent.
That's right. Well, I appreciate it, Lydia. Thank you for sharing that and jumping in here. And absolutely, we got to make sure we're catching ourselves, not putting ourselves in a position of lack when we want things, but wanting them without being desperate for it, but at the same time allowing it to attract to us. And again, that focus is what allows us to do that. So I appreciate you adding that. All right, so we are past 8:30. Let me pass the mic over. Instagram, TikTok, stay on. Let me pass the mic over to Matt GPT. Good morning, Matt. How are you? And thank everybody for your time.
Good morning, Dre. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, as always, for sharing your time and
Absolutely.
your wisdom.
Appreciate it. All right, so those y'all on IG and TikTok, let me respond to these. I see the comments. If you got a question or comment on Instagram, go ahead and post it. Or if you already posted, I'm about to read it right now. Alan said, I got a 99-degree fever. Should I go work my 9 to 5? I would say yeah. I mean, if you could be on Instagram, that means you ain't that sick. I mean, if you were really sick, Alan, you wouldn't be on Instagram. So yes, go to work. So hopefully in this time I was talking, you got up and went to work. Stars Tina, what's going on? Good morning. Good to see you. And let's see. If you got a question or comment on IG, go ahead and post it, and I will get to it if there are any. Aru said 30%. No, I think 30% is kind of high. Or I told you I was 2%. Aru said some or most are guilty of gathering the information mentally, but does not apply it. Yes, and also a lot of times people gather information that is not accurate information. They think they know what it takes to get there, but what they think is what it takes is not actually what it takes, because they have inaccurate information. A lot of times people just ask the wrong questions. Rue says, clarity is so challenging to find at times. Well, that's where you get help. So that second point that I said here today about getting clarity about what it's going to take to reach your goals, you go and get help from someone who can help you get the clarity. You don't have to try to figure that out by yourself. Now, I go to the boxing gym. Boxing is not my sport. So I got a boxing trainer because he knows a whole bunch more about how to learn how to do the sport than I do. If I try to figure it out on my own, I might never figure it out. But with a trainer, it basically shortens your learning curve. So instead of taking 10 years to maybe figure it out as a person who knows nothing, now I can figure it out in, well, it might still take 10 years, but at least I know for sure I had an answer. So that's the reason why you get help from people who know things that you don't know. Fund Donor says, we have a DO call. Wanted to talk but ran out of time. I don't know what you mean, Fund Donor. You said something about a DM. Just send me a DM if you have a question. I don't know what you're referring to. Just send me a DM if you have a question. So let's see over on TikTok. We got any questions on TikTok? Sometimes TikTok, the notifications come so fast I can't even read them all, but I'm looking. I don't think anybody asked a question. Shout out to everybody watching on TikTok. TikTok has live streaming these days, if y'all didn't know that. And TikTok looked like our numbers started to go up just a little bit on our posts. I don't even look at it that much. My assistant handles it, but last time I looked like we were. But I don't know. I don't know about TikTok. I don't trust TikTok's numbers. Everything looks like exactly the same over time. All the numbers look the same. It'll be up. They'll all be the same. And it'll be down. They'll all be the same. So I don't know. TikTok, I think they be making up numbers. So who knows? But if you're really watching me on TikTok, I mean my post, not this live, but really watching me on TikTok, shout out to y'all. And yeah, if y'all got a question, oh yeah, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where I do all my stuff. Y'all want to work with us directly. As I told y'all, we're looking for top 2% performers. We're looking for the people who do implement. They get information, they have goals, they got things they want to do, and they go to work and actually start putting them to work. If you're that type of person and you have some goals that you want to reach now, I'm not talking next month or 6 months from now or next year if things are better, like you're assuming you're going to be around next year to do it. I'm not looking for you. All right? I'm not mad at you if you're that type of person, but that's not who we're looking for. We're looking for implementers and people who are ready to make things happen now. You can put the word game in the comments right now, but I'm about to end this live, but you can just send us a DM with the word game, GAME, and our people are watching that. They'll start a conversation over in the DMs, and we'll see if we can possibly help you in Work on Your Game University. Robuster on TikTok says, how do you increase income when you work 10 to 12 hours a day already? What kind of work are you doing, Robuster, and what kind of increase in income we talking? If you can answer those two questions, then I can answer your question. So Fund Donor will send you a DM. Let me find you there, and we will hit you up. I don't know if my bot is active right now, but make sure it is. At least get this conversation started. But Robuster, I'm waiting for you to give me an answer to that question, because this is a good question, because people do ask questions like this. What kind of work are you doing? Because the question is, how do I increase income when I'm already working 10 to 12 hours a day? So it's a good question to ask. So I want to know, what kind of work are you doing, and what kind of increase in income are we talking about? And is Chima? What is Chima? What does that mean? Is it Chima in what's the place? There's a restaurant called Chima. I don't know if that's how they spell it, but I don't know what you're referring to. All right, so I think our bot got you started in a DM over there. Construction, you're working 10 to 12 hours a day in construction, and you want to increase income. How much do you want to increase your income? Like, give me a percentage base. Like, you want to make 10% more money, double your money. Oh, your name is Chima. Okay. But when you respond to our DMs, then we'll know who you are. We'll talk to you. So Fund Donor, I'm waiting for your answer here. Not Fund Donor, excuse me. Robuster on TikTok. What kind of increase in income we talking here? And do you want to make your money? So I'll just give you a framework here for how I answer this, because you take a little long to respond. But this can be applied to everybody. If you're already working 10 to 12 hours a day, that means you don't have a ton of additional time. I don't know what else you're doing with the rest of your life. I don't know what kind of home life you got. You got kids and all the other stuff that you're doing. So you may be looking at either A, how do I get a raise at my job? Because that won't increase your income. B, you can have a side hustle where you're making some money outside of your full-time job. So you still got your full-time income, then you got the money that you make on the side. So those are basically 3 ways that you can do it. So you say you make 60, you want to make at least 80 to 100. So I just told you 3 ways you can do it. You can try to get a raise at your job, or move companies. You can still do construction, but go to a different company that'll pay you more money. You can, again, leave that industry and go to a different industry that will pay you more if you have skills that can get you 80 to 100K a year. or you can start a side hustle that can make you some money outside of your full-time job. So keep your job, keep your 60K, and then make another 20 to 40K, which will get you to 80 to 100 based on the money that's coming in from the side hustle. Those are basically your three choices. Now, once you go to work on those choices, if you're going to do something like a side hustle or a side business, that's something that someone like myself can help you with. If you want to make more money at the company that you're at, that's just basically a negotiation thing, talking to your boss. And if you want to move to a different company, that's more like a resume thing. How do you present yourself in such a way that you can be positioned to where a company that's offering 80 to 100K will be willing to pay you? And we would also have to find out, do you have other skills besides construction? So are you looking just at another construction job, or do you have other things that you can bring to the table to where a company that's offering 80 to 100 will pay you? So for example, could you do you know coding, or are you a book editor, or do you know anything about making videos online? Do you have other skills that will be worth that amount of money, or are you limited to making that money in the construction space? So these are all things that we would have to find out. So I can't answer that question because I don't know these things about you, robust, but that's the framework that I would start with for answering that question. So fund donor, I'm looking at IG. I'm looking at IG on my phone where I'm on here right now. We sent you a DM, fund donor. We sent you a DM already. So all you gotta do is just respond to that one. So you don't have to send me a DM. Just respond to the DM we already sent. So then we'll start. And Robuster, you can also, I'll check the DMs on TikTok today too. You can send a DM as well, and we can see how we can help you once we get a little bit more information. So I don't have all the information about you, but we can possibly help you. And also go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, which is the link in my bio on TikTok. It's also the link in Instagram. So any of you can go there as well, and y'all can see more about what we do in the university. All right, so everybody, I appreciate you all's time and attention here. Let's get to work on this Monday. Enjoy it, and let's make it great. WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. You want to work with us? That's where we're at. We out of here. Have a great day.